Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video, and I know most of you probably clicked on the thumbnail for this bad boy, but don't worry, we'll get to him in a bit. As some of you may have saw on my community tab and on Twitter, I did decide to delay my actual figure news recap video. Obviously on this channel we go over the past 2 weeks of figure news every single 2 weeks, and we got some word that the production images for May would potentially be coming out within the next few days, and there really wasn't that much news this week in general, so I just decided to wait until we had those production images so we had something a little bit more to talk about. So this video is not only going to serve as a breaking news video, but also double up as our Dragon Ball weekly figure, or bi-weekly I guess you would say, figure news video. So let's go ahead and get into it here so we can get to the good stuff later in the video. So of course, as we saw at the Tamashii Nations Tokyo event, we did have the Gohan Beast SH Figuarts figure revealed, as well as SH Figuarts Orange Piccolo shown once again. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Hydrate, baby. And on the official Dragon Ball website, there was actually sort of a little recap of everything that they showed off, which is pretty cool. And obviously showing off the displays and whatnot, which was pretty cool to see. And basically just talking about the figures. Unfortunately, they don't really give us any more information, which is what we would have really wanted to see, right? The production team has done a wonderful job of capturing the sense of pressure we experienced during his appearance in the film and the personality. We think the figure's release date can't come soon enough. So they basically don't have a release date for any of these figures yet, unfortunately, which is kind of a shame. They did show off the Figuarts Zero Gogeta, though, which I will actually be getting that later this year and doing a video on. It's kind of weird that it's going to be releasing closer to 8th anniversary when it was supposed to be for 7th, but whatever. It is what it is. So that's the Tamashii Nations report. This was interesting. So as we've been talking about for a couple of videos, Dragon Ball and Toei have been partnering with some official resin statue companies, which is quite interesting. And for the Chinese market, we got this new Bulma statue, which is very interesting, of her on the bike here. As you can see, look at all these images here. This is pretty cool. Look at the details on the water and all that. Oh, I love how it's smaller there. That's funny. But yeah, it looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. I think a lot of the details on like the internals of the bike themselves are actually pretty good, right? Definitely a very nice looking statue for sure. I promise you that this thing is going to be really, really overpriced, because most of the time these figures are, especially for something that's this big. I don't know why it's not zooming out now, but that's all right. It's also not going off of Bulma. Well, all right, let me refresh the page then. There we go. So yeah, this is the statue. It looks pretty good overall. I like the lettering that it's not exactly centered there for the Bulma. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff just looks pretty good to me. I'm honestly more impressed with the detailing on the bottom of like the effects of the water. And look at that, there's even little fish in there. That's awesome. I don't know if this is specifically supposed to be from any scene in particular, but I mean, it looks cool. So yeah, definitely some very nice detail over this thing as well. Speaking of statues, we got the boy Vegito, which is pretty cool. This is the second statue announced today from the same company. This one looks a lot like the Prime 1 X Mega House statues that so far have both Goku and Vegeta, but obviously this is from a different company, and this comes with 3 heads, which is actually pretty cool. So it's not 3 different statues that you're buying. As you can see, like, the actual Ki Blast effect is the same, and these are just different pieces that you should be able to just stick in the figure, unless it's just different lights that light it up yellow or blue. But this is pretty cool. Obviously here you can see the effects look pretty nice. I will say, don't know how I feel about his face, if I'm being honest with you. A lot of these big resin statues I feel like don't necessarily capture the character's likenesses super well. Blue Vegito right here doesn't look too bad, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think he looks the worst, but he's still definitely not the best for sure. However, obviously this is still a pretty cool statue. Obviously there is no denying that. And in general, these statues are pretty cool, but again, they're usually pretty overpriced. If we do get any kind of pricing on either of these, I will let you know, but these were literally just shown off, and to my knowledge, we don't have a price on any of these. And that is everything from DBZ Figures this week. I know, very short on our favorite DBZFigures.com website here, but sometimes it just be like that, bro. But we're moving on to the boy Baggy Saiyans Twitter. So, we can actually speed through quite a bit of this, to be honest with you. I told you it was a very slow news week. Geo store numbers for December. The Piranha plush got 86, which is kind of funny. Vegito got 54. Frieza got 41. Gohan got 24. And the Retsuden line got 4, which is a shame. Well, not a shame, because these figures aren't that good. The word I meant to say was shameful, honestly, because, wow, that is, pretty bad, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But Vegito still did pretty well, honestly, for 54, especially considering Dragon Ball has had a lot of low numbers lately. I mean, look at My Hero in comparison with Hawks and Tokoyami at the very, very high numbers comparatively. As well, we had a store numbers correction. So this is the number of stores I believe that each of these figures are going to be at. But as you can see, Vegito still did very well, which is good to see. The GX material line should be here to stay, but the rest of Dragon Ball is still low, and Ryu's DXF Gohan has dropped more than 50%, which is crazy. But yeah, obviously, look at the comparison between these two, between the Hawks and Tokoyami. That is wild to see, if I am being honest with you. 100%. Okay, this one is a real quick one. Just kind of a shame, but it is what it is. No March or April Dragon Ball Gashapon. Obviously, these are like your Versus series figures, your UDM, stuff like that. We're getting none of that for March and April, which is kind of crazy considering that a new movie just dropped and we're not getting anything. But yeah, very, very sad to see. But nonetheless, that is the way that it be. We do have some new Dragon Ball Heroes gummy packs. I told you the week was slow, bro. I have to include this in here. This Vegito card does look very, very sick with the Limit Breaker. And obviously, there is some cool stuff in here. Of course, most of this based off of either Broly movie or superhero. Obviously, I mean, it's obvious why they picked these specific cards, even though they're not necessarily from the movie. And obviously, a bunch of Dragon Ball Heroes specific stuff. And this is for December. Okay. So, we did have some IRL pictures of the Retsuden, Vegeta, and Trunks. Vegeta doesn't look terrible, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is about him, but he's not necessarily, like, my favorite figure in the world. I don't know. First of all, his legs look a little bit weird. They look a little, like, contorted almost, and I feel like something about his face is off. His hair also looks, like, very chunky, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just kind of doesn't really work, I feel like, for this guy. But it's not the worst Vegeta figure I've ever seen. However, what is up with the base of this figure? Holy moly, why does it need to be that big? They could literally put it to the edges of his feet and be chilling. I don't know why you would ever make a base that big. So this guy also kind of takes an L for that, because that means if you're trying to have this guy on your shelf, that's going to be hard to display with some other figures, because obviously he takes up so much space. And Trunks, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even think I need to tell you why that figure's bad. Obviously, keep in mind, these are like the lights reflecting off the glass. So, you know, take that into account when you're looking at this guy. But his hair does not look good whatsoever. It's way too short, and the way that it flows just doesn't look natural as well. His head looks too big for his hair, and these shaved, like, sideburns of the figure just do not look good as well. I feel like his eyes and mouth are too big for the head of the figure. Just everything about this figure is not great. He hasn't looked good from the start, and he still doesn't look good now. Kind of an unfortunate circumstance for Trunks. However, we did get the release of the boy GX Materia Vegito, which is very, very cool. And honestly, I think this guy turned out pretty well, if I do say so myself. The figure definitely looks very, very sick. They did a very good job with the Spirit Sword as well. And I definitely like the expression. Oh, you can see Trunks and Vegeta over there too. I like the expression that they chose for him as well. We have a bunch of pictures for him. Actually, this is him in a actual like arcade machine, like a claw machine that you would get him out of in Japan. Here's some close-ups of the boy from another arcade machine in Japan. Yeah, that expression is so good, dude. Ooh! The boy Varroque sculpted this figure. It is quite good, if I am being honest with you. Definitely a very, very solid figure. Here's the poster, and then here's the poster in actual full quality HD. Very, very nice stuff. Again, I love the expression that they chose from. Let's actually go back and just look at him again with that nice close-up. Oh, so good. They were cooking in the studio when they made this, man. I'm very happy this figure turned out well. It's interesting because fusion figures usually don't do that good because most collectors have fusions because, I mean, there's just been so many different versions of fusion characters throughout the years that it's not really necessary to release that many. But obviously the GX material line is a little bit different, and I think Vegito still stands up against the rest. And not to mention, considering his numbers are fairly high, all things considered to what Dragon Ball has gotten recently, good for the boy. You love to see it. All right, so moving on past the boy Vegito, very, very small and quick. We had these little minifigures released here in the West. These are little keychains. I've seen these before. They're kind of like squishy things. This is also something like you basically put on like a backpack or something like that. Low key, I would like to get the armored Goku one. I think that would be pretty cool, but obviously it's like random, whatever one you get in the pack, so... But yeah, these are the Cell Arc little clips. We don't know if there is a Chase one yet, but that would be pretty cool to see. I don't know if anybody necessarily collects these, to be honest with you. Also, something interesting to note here is that Vegeta is on the package, but I don't see him in the lineup here unless I'm just legally blind, which I don't think so. Yeah, no, I just don't see him there. Interesting. Maybe he's the Chase, but or maybe it's just not shown in the image there. Quite interesting, though. Okay. So now we're finally here. Where I know you probably all came into the video for the boy Gohan Beast. So we have the reveals of the May production images for 2023. I will explain to you what that means in a moment after we talk about the figure, for those of you who are kind of unaware. But this is the boy Gohan Beast. This is the DXF version. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be like the figure from the same sort of line as the Ultimate Gohan that we got, and then the Super Saiyan Gohan that we got in the Bam Presto scale, right? Not the Ichiban Kuji ones that I've talked about those in their own separate video. But this is the Gohan Beast from that sort of variation. It is going to be interesting to see this guy in person. I like the hair a lot. I think that the hair is very, very good. I think they got a pretty good look on the color. It could maybe be a little bit brighter, but I think that gray is pretty much nailing it, right? It's nice to see as well that they didn't just stick with the purple, and the sort of bluish color kind of matches more the colors that are happening during this scene, right? With the actual color scheme of when Gohan Beast appears. His body looks very good, and another thing to note is that the figure is not actually reused. As you can see here, the sculpt, excuse me, I literally jumped into recording this video without having drinking water recently, so I apologize. Hydrate. But you can see that the pants are actually sculpted a little bit differently. Obviously, this guy has the little detail of the rip here and the rip here, and of course, a little bit more tattered clothes on his shoulders. But you can see, even though it is quite similar, the sculpting is absolutely different on the pants here. So, it is nice that at least for Gohan Beast, because we were really afraid that they were just going to reuse the Ultimate Gohan and the Super Saiyan Gohan figure from the same line, because they literally just reused Super Saiyan Gohan, you know, from the Ultimate Gohan one to make the Super Saiyan version. It's nice to see that this guy has his own figure. I will say, regarding the face, I am a little bit off-put by it. It's definitely not anything that would make me not want to buy the figure, but I feel like there's something that is just a tad bit off about it. This could be me nitpicking, absolutely, but I feel like there's just something that's just a little bit off about it. I thought that the Ultimate Gohan and the Super Saiyan Gohan looked just like him, and I did not get that feeling with those figures, but his face just looks like the tiniest bit, a little bit not like Gohan. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Overall, I do think that this guy looks really good, and I definitely want to see more pictures of this guy going forward. As well, for the rest of the May production images, we did get a very cool figure set of Goku and Frieza duking it out here. I am absolutely gonna have to pick this one up. This is so sick. I feel like it's really rare nowadays. Like, Bandai has kind of fallen a little bit far from grace, you know, because now Bandai owns Bam Presto. And a lot of the figures are basically just kind of them standing there, which isn't bad, but that shouldn't be the only type of figures that you make. There isn't a lot of dynamic posed figures that I see nowadays, and these guys definitely seem to fit the bill of not being very static. They are extremely dynamically posed, which is awesome. And this looks super cool. I love figures that you can pair up next to each other that are like, obviously, Bam Presto statues, because of course with SH Figuarts you can just pose them however you want. With these guys, right, I absolutely love, you know, the fact that they are literally duking it out in their pose so that they're meant to be next to each other. And not to mention, you could absolutely have these as individual figures if you really wanted to. But these look fantastic together. I'm so excited to see more angles of this. And we also have Trunks from the BoJack movie. Ooh! This is gas, ladies and gentlemen. I am a huge fan of the BoJack movie. It's probably like top 3 Dragon Ball Z movies, like Fusion Reborn and BoJack I really love. And especially for me, I like the first half of the BoJack movie a lot. I don't know why. I mean, I like the part where BoJack shows up, but like the first half of the movie is just so peak Dragon Ball for me. Obviously, this is from his fight with Goku, but this is such a sick figure, dude. Obviously, him walking forward. This is from the Solid Edgeworks line, which is kind of funny because the whole gimmick of the Solid Edgeworks line originally was that they were walking forward, and then they stopped doing that, and now this guy is doing that, which I think is kind of interesting that they sort of went back to it. But we also never get long-haired Trunks figures, especially in base form. So this is really, really cool to see. And we are also going to be getting a Super Saiyan variant. Ooh! Ooh, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I have to say, I think personally, I prefer the base form one. Maybe I'm a little bit biased just because we literally never get base form versions of like Trunks with the long hair specifically, right? Like it's always short hair future Trunks. And we have a couple of figures where Trunks has the super spiky hair like this. Not too many, but definitely more than the base form long hair. But this still does look very, very good. Does he look slimmer also? I feel like his arms look less bulky. I think that's just my imagination. His legs also look a little bit slimmer. I don't know. Maybe that's just me like seeing things here. I mean, it is basically the same figure just with a different head, obviously. You know, that's how they do it nowadays. Back in the day, they would have included both heads in there. But with how they do figures now, you gotta pick and choose, or just buy both, I suppose. But I am definitely going to be picking up the boy Trunks, absolutely. So yeah, if you are unfamiliar, by the way, May production images, this does mean that these figures are going to release in May in Japan, which I know you're probably thinking, huh? The first Gohan Beast prize figure, you know, the first Gohan Beast figure that's not an SH Figuarts figure is going to be, oh, hi legs, is going to be released in May of next year? Yes, that's correct. Almost to the anniversary of the movie is when they're going to be releasing the first prized figure for Gohan Beast. Why they decided to do it this way, ladies and gentlemen, not even Kami himself knows. But this is the way that things are, and this is what we have to look forward to. So I'm really excited to get my hands on this guy and to eventually review him. Let's go ahead and just double check and see if Baggy's tweeted anything else. No. Not related to Gohan anyway. But what is pretty cool is, as you can see, Goku and Frieza were actually based off of this specific illustration, which is really cool. And we also have some more angles here for Goku and for Frieza, which is really, really awesome to see. Ooh, that expression for Frieza is really good. I feel like his mouth is open maybe a little bit too wide, especially compared to that original art. But I mean, he is like kind of going crazy when he's fighting Goku, so I mean, you know, sort of makes sense. This is really good though. I definitely like the sculpting on Frieza's body as well. I think it's very, very good, if I do say so myself. That's really cool. I definitely like that a lot, and I think they did a good job capturing the look of the original art too. Yeah, that's very nice. I see the expression they were going for Goku too. I'm sure his face will look a little bit closer to that if he's like turned a little bit, because obviously it's the angle that the photo's at. But that is really cool. I definitely like that a lot, ladies and gentlemen. So that is basically everything that we've got for today. Yeah. Seems like that this figure is going to be sculpted by the homie Joe, by the way. If you're unfamiliar, basically Joe has been the individual who has been sculpting a lot of the more recent Dragon Ball figures. Here's the other leg, by the way. I didn't even see this in the original tweet. I'm sorry, I completely missed that. But yeah, obviously you can see here the figure is not resculpted compared to, or not resculpted, I'm sorry, it is resculpted. It's not reused, rather, from the original figure, because you can see that the sculpting on the leg is a little bit different. I mean, obviously besides the rip and a little bit of the mark on the pants there. So that is everything that we have for the moment on this figure. I'm sure as time goes on and the next couple days come, we will get some more multi-angles of this guy as well. We will also get some more angles of Goku and Frieza, and probably Trunks too. Either I will do a individual figure news video on that one. I'll do like a little news flash type of meme, or I will just save it for the next figure news video. But obviously, I wanted to wait to include these figures in here because, of course, not only was it a light news week, but, bro, it's Gohan Beast. We've been waiting for this one for so long. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. Let me know your thoughts on all of the figures that we covered today in the comments section below, and I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.